Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of All Lit Up. I'm Gilly Fogg, head creative of Lighthouse Studios in Kilkenny, Ireland, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to the unstoppable Emily Brundige of Li'l Toughy Studios in LA. Emily is a creator, a writer, a showrunner, and an entrepreneur. She has her own series, Goldie, which was animated right here in Lighthouse on Apple TV, and she's just launched her new series, Strawberry Vampire, on her Li'l Toughy YouTube channel, and it went viral within 48 hours of the premiere. Emily's published an excellent book on series development and will soon publish a second book on writing the perfect pilot script. I talked to Emily about her influences, the power of self-belief, never giving up, and the joy in creating. So let's get to the chat and get all lit up. Hello, Emily.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
It is really great to see you and to have the chance to talk in a year, 2025, when you have done so much. Can you rewind all the way back to where you began? Was there a person or a moment or a movie that sparked you to be the creator that you are today?
Well, I think as a kid, I wanted to be Walt Disney. Like literally, I wanted to be him. I wanted to be the guy calling the shots at Disneyland and starting my own empire. But then I think as an adult, understanding the landscape of modern animation, this show called Flapjack that was on Cartoon Network really inspired me to want to be a show creator specifically. And I hadn't been watching cartoon shows for a while as an adult. And then there's just this renaissance with Adventure Time. And I saw that you were allowed to make these artsy, unique, kind of auteur cartoon shows. And that's what I realized I wanted to do. And it took me a decade, but I did finally, I had a few opportunities so far to make my own shows, and it continues to be my main passion.
And always animation?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of live action film and TV shows, but that's not really my sweet spot. I'm just really, I come from an art background and I really love the art that goes into animation. So that's kind of where my happy place is.
And I think particularly 2D, right? Because everything you've referenced there is 2D. All of your work is 2D.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to 3D. Like, I like the medium too. I've worked on a 3D show. I was head writer on this show called Big Nate. And there are different limitations, different challenges, but, I could see myself doing something in 3D, whether it be a TV show or movie someday.
And so you mentioned, writing on Big Nate, and you were also writing on Hilda. It's a different role, a different approach when you're writing for a show you haven't created versus one that you have. But
totally.
But
yeah.
I imagine that you learned a lot on shows that weren't your own to bring.
Yeah. I learned a lot from my old bosses. When you're in that position where you're close to working with the showrunner, you can kind of choose what you like and you don't like from different styles of show running, and it helps inform who you are as a showrunner and who you want to be.
Right, so you're talking not just about the craft of writing itself, but the way you're leading people.
Yeah, exactly. Like from a managerial standpoint too. The writing is more about your style of writing and your style of breaking stories or brainstorming stories with your writers. So there's that, but there's also the way you communicate with your team and lead them.
Can you encapsulate your style in a sentence?
I think I feel like I'm pretty conscientious about making sure as much as I can that everyone feels appreciated, and whether that's just making sure I welcome and say hi to everyone in a Zoom meeting or check in with individuals, how they're doing. And, a few of the people on the Goldie crew I've really become friends with post working on the show, and we've become buddies and cheering each other on with our creations. And so I like to be that kind of showrunner that actually sees the value in these relationships, and as much, like I said, as much as I can, try to show appreciation.
And Emily, we were saying that you have done so much this year, and one of the first things you did, or one of the first things I heard about, was that you packed all of the knowledge that you have gained over all of the experiences we're talking about, and you put them into a book.
Yeah. So between the times that I've been staffed on a show as a writer or head writer or running a show, I usually spend the other time doing lots of development, mostly being hired to adapt a book series, to show to take out, to pitch. And so I just, over the years, and I've sold, I think it's 8 original shows since I started Pubertina back like a decade ago. And so I realized that that area in particular is an area I really felt I was an expert in, because I've just done so much in that area and know it kind of inside and out. And at the same time, I was getting a lot of messages from aspiring writers and creators, you know, asking if to get coffee or to Zoom, pick my brain. And realistically, I just can't really do that I have limited time. I'm a mom. I'm hustling to get work done. So I thought that this was a good way. I'm also comfortable with writing too. So I felt like this was a really good way to get all that information into one source, and share it with people and make a little profit off of it.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, I've read the book. It's so well put together. It's a really lively read. But the heart of the book, which is the content, the text, that's all you, and that's your hard-earned experience.
Yeah, and I do, as you know, I come up with a show in the book, going through the stages with the reader. And I have a finished pitch Bible at the back of the book for this show that I create. And the art, I did work with an artist to do the character designs and everything for that. My friend John Pham, who's an art director here in America. But yeah, I think it served the purpose that I was hoping it would serve, which is lifting the veil on this kind of mysterious process and making it less mysterious.
It literally is a step-by-step guide. I've recommended it to so many people. So Emily, 2025 and possibly last year as well has been a really and continues to be a really tough year in animation.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the name of your new company is no coincidence.
Yeah.
So the name is
Li'l Toughy.
Yeah.
And so this was a name that I kind of, like a nickname I sort of got in 2015 or 2016 when I was let go from showrunning my first show. And my friends kind of rallied around me and made me feel like a little toughie, like I was going to keep going, even though this really unexpected loss kind of, you know, because it was a show I developed. And I think that, yeah, I kind of identify with that name because I have my career journey has had a lot of ups and downs, but I always have gotten back up and kept trying, kept pushing, kept looking for new ways to get by. And what I kind of tell people, like in my Substack, the kind of like philosophy of a little toughie is to stay scrappy in situations, you know, and look for ways to make things beyond relying on gatekeepers or studios.
Have you worked in a studio like for an extended period?
Yeah. I worked at DreamWorks for a while, DreamWorks TV for, I don't know, like 3 years. And then I worked on Big Nate for, I think it was almost 2 years. But we started production during lockdown. So my time on the show was all from home.
Oh, okay. And did you get to hang out with Link in person at all?
I met him on Zoom and he sent me a really nice message when I had to leave the show to make Goldie. So that was cool.
What an excellent reason to have to leave a great show like Big Note to make your own show. I'm a massive fan of Lincoln Press. I mean, his books are so funny.
They are, yeah.
And did he play a role in the writing room? Was he a big presence?
No, he wasn't a big presence in the day-to-day, but we did get his feedback on every episode. But he was very, hands-off. He didn't want to impede, but if there was something that really he didn't like or something he thought would be good to do, he would speak up. But he was a really, really good collaborator in that way. He put a lot of trust in us.
Yeah, I mean, he led in the same way that you were talking about leading, it sounds like. So that's wonderful. So you left Big Nate to go and work on Goldie. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Goldie because, as our listeners will know, every episode links to a short film that our guest has chosen, and you have chosen the original Goldie short.
Yes.
So can you tell us about how that idea for Goldie, big girl with big emotions, how that came to you?
Yeah. So I came up with the idea probably in 2014, actually, and because I remember I had loose pitched it to Amazon. But then I really came back to it in 2016, around the time that someone was elected in this country, because I felt kind of squashed as a woman, to be honest. And I felt like when I looked at all the projects that I had abandoned or took a break from, I liked this idea of creating a character who was a girl who took up space. Just that alone, her existing, I felt was like a statement for me. And also that she's kind of messy. She's not perfect, and she makes mistakes. I think that was just kind of a character that we don't get to see a lot. And yeah, I just thought, how wonderful would it be to have Clifford, but a giant girl.
Yes, of course, Clifford, but a giant girl. And please, listeners, go and watch this short film, because what I love about it, the way you carried the spirit of that. I mean, it's a short film rather than a pilot, I think, because you didn't design it to be a pilot.
Yeah. I knew that I couldn't afford to produce a full-length pilot. And so I tried to find a story that worked with the scale of production I was planning to make. And that was, giving a taste of the character and the world, having a mini conflict that gets wrapped up quickly, whereas if it was a full-length episode, there would have to be a few more steps to making up the destruction of Mrs. Petunia's property. And we do an extended story, an episode that's basically the short, but extended into a 11-minute.
But Emily, tell us about what's coming up next and your new approach. That involves Kickstarter, I think, on your new.
Yeah. So after Goldie wrapped, I had been working on a lot of other people's ideas, or like I said, books to series type projects. And I realized, actually, my husband realized, because I was feeling a little depressed, and he pointed out that I always kind of need something of my own that I'm working on, whether it's something on the side or something I'm trying to really pursue. And so that became Strawberry Vampire, which I knew. So this is a project it's loosely based on my Jewish-Hungarian family. And so it's very personal, and it's a symbolic story, a comedy about their immigrating to California and the difficulty assimilating and feeling like an outsider. So that was what was driving this new show. it was kind of a love letter to my family. And just to give a little context, my mom's parents immigrated from Hungary to Hawthorne, California, after surviving the Holocaust. And we know a lot of their family perished in the Holocaust and the camps, but they miraculously survived. And so it's also this story of survival that I think is really powerful. My main character, her name is Franny, and she's loosely based off my mom's cousin, Marika. And it's basically follows Franny and her family and their adventures in America, trying to fit in and also hold on to their roots.
And what are the nuts and bolts of putting an idea like that on Kickstarter? And for anyone considering doing it themselves, how much is it to manage doing that?
I think don't promise, for example, rewards that you don't feel you can fulfill. So I mostly did posters and stickers. And then eventually I'm putting together a behind the scenes video, which was one of the awards. But it's about also thinking about your scope. Like, I made my goal $8,000, which in Kickstarter terms is a very fair goal. You know, because I've seen budgets that are over $100,000, and so it was a goal I felt like I had a good chance of successfully hitting.
And you did hit it.
Yeah, actually in a few days.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so
were you like, dang, I should have asked for more? Or
no,
were you like, great?
No, I was like, this will allow me to do what I feel I can do right now. I think it would have been too much for me to try to ask, because the other option was like asking for however much it would cost to fully animate the 11-minute, depending on the studio. So that's a big gap in budget. So Mercury is animating a scene from the pilot animatic.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. So it's really going to serve as a proof of concept for the show. It has the full 11-minute story, and then it also show in one scene what the show will actually look like.
So Emily, I think the things we've heard from you today are know what you want to say, then say it in a simple way that gets the message across, and then be yourself with people and lead from a place that's sincere and genuine. Yeah,
and I think I talk about this in my book, but I think it helps. I mean, you should have some reason that you're making something. But I think it really helps if it's a reason that feels personal to the writer, creator. I think that helps something resonate more with people.
And not only that, but it's so difficult to get these things made. Your motivation has to be really deep and come from your core. It's not just like, oh, that's going to sell. It's got to be...
No, this show is not going to sell. That's the point.
It's something in me that I want to get out. And Emily, give us now all that. We'll put them all in the links.
Okay.
But give us the details of where people can find your Substack, find your book, find Strawberry Vampire, the next Emily Brundage. Tell us everything so people can get to it.
So if you follow me on Instagram at Emily Brundage, I have a link in my profile that's a link tree that has links to my book, my Substack, my YouTube channel, booking a consultation with me, because I'm also doing that. And on my Instagram, I post Strawberry Vampire comics every Wednesday. So you can get a little taste of what the characters in the show is. And then I have a Substack called Inside Li'l Toughy Studio, where I post a free article every other week. And then the other weeks are paid issues. And in the free issues, I mostly follow the journey of Strawberry Vampire. So that's a great way to follow along if you subscribe to my Substack. And then you can also go to my website, emilybrundage.com, to find that information too.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we'll keep being inspired by people like you who really are, you are such a softie, but you are extremely tough. And you're finding and figuring your way through, and really you're leading people by example of what you're doing.
Thanks, Gilly.
So Emily, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that people are inspired. Go make something.
Yes. Yes, go make something and watch Goldie on Apple TV. Check out the Li'l Toughy Substack. It's a great read. And also Emily's book, which is a wonderful guide to developing any creative project, not just an animated series. So there you are, listeners. Lots to do. Thank you so much for joining us today. And please come back and listen to another episode of All Lit Up.